I'm trapped in a goddamn novel, and the only way I can get home is to make the main character hate my guts. I have to max out her annoyance meter. So, naturally, I've dedicated my life to being the biggest asshole imaginable. I steal the things she wants, I force the things she hates on her. My entire existence is a calculated campaign to make her despise me. The problem is, she started letting me get away with everything. The other day, when someone was complaining about me, I heard her say, in that cool, bored voice of hers, "He only acts like that with me. What you all so worked up about?" Aria Vance and I grew up together, but when it came to her birthday parties, she invited everyone in our social circle except me. No problem. I just crash. I kicked the ballroom door open. The chatter died instantly, and 100 pairs of eyes locked onto me. For a second, my heart hammered against my ribs. God, Caleb, can you tone it down? I wanted to bash my own head in. I have the calmest sounding name, Caleb Hayes, but a temper that could detonate a landmine. Still, I couldn't show it. My eyes scanned the room and landed on Aria, who was tucked in a corner, talking on her phone. I strode toward her. "Vance," I said, my voice dripping with arrogance. "What's the deal? You forget how to send an invitation." She finished her call before her gaze drifted over to me. She'd pulled her hair, a wild mane of dark curls, into a high ponytail, showing off her forehead and the elegant line of her neck. The amber light from the chandelier above carved out the sharp, perfect angles of her profile. She was ridiculously beautiful, but the icy indifference in her eyes gave her an edge that could cut glass. The perfect heroine. I had to admire the casting director of this stupid world. Aria didn't seem surprised to see me. "You were in Europe yesterday," she replied, her voice smooth as silk. "How was I supposed to get an invite to you? Besides, you made it in just fine, didn't you?" She gestured toward the door, where 8 of her security guys stood, none of whom had dared to stop me. She had me there, but I wasn't about to admit it. "That's not the point," I snapped. "You send it. If I'm in a mood, I'll show up." I looked around the opulent ballroom with disdain. "And what is this place? Did you rent out a community theater? It's completely dead in here." I turned my glare on the guests who had started to gather. "What are you all staring at?" "Yeah, I'm talking to you." Suddenly, a guy in a simple, off-the-rack suit stepped forward. He had a boyish face, now pinched with indignation. "Mr. Hayes, how can you talk to everyone like that? It's incredibly rude. You should apologize." The room fell silent. Everyone stared at the newcomer, this Leo Miller. I just laughed. I was the notorious trust fund brat of our circle. My parents' money was my armor, letting me wreak havoc wherever I went. No one ever called me out, especially not when it came to Aria. I practically lived to dance on her last nerve. Everyone always said that if my family had a little less money, I'd be finished. They didn't know I was waiting for that day, hoping for it. I'm not from this world. I was accidentally dropped into this cheesy, tropey romance novel as the designated asshole rival, the loudmouthed, rebellious rich kid who was supposed to annoy his way into a jail cell. To get home, I had to follow the script and make the heroine, Aria, hate me. When her annoyance meter hit 100%, I was free. So, from the moment I met her, my life's mission became pissing her off. In the beginning, I had a system that gave me daily updates on her slowly rising annoyance level. It was great. But then, one day in high school, it just vanished, leaving me to fly blind. I didn't panic. If I could annoy her before, I could do it again. I doubled down, fully committing to my role. I snatched things she wanted. I gifted her things she loathed. I sabotaged anything that might bring her a moment of peace and did everything that would irritate her, preferably right in front of her face. It worked. Eventually, the sight of me was enough to make her brow furrow in that perfect, elegant scowl. The disgust was written all over her face. It was exactly what I wanted. Tonight's party was the perfect opportunity to rack up some serious points. According to the plot, Aria was supposed to be charmed by Leo Miller's gentle, considerate nature, which would make her hate my guts even more. My only job here was to be his perfect foil. Looking at Leo, this self-appointed defender of the masses, I glanced at Aria. She was watching him. Of course. The power of the plot was absolute. She was actually interested in this guy. Time for my performance. I summoned every ounce of my asshole rival energy, sneered, and dialed the arrogance up to 11. "And who the hell are you to tell me what to do?" Leo's eyes instantly reddened like a rabbit's. "Mister, Hayes, why would you say that? I'm just trying to stand up for everyone. He looked to the other guests, expecting backup, but was met with dead silence. These people had grown up under my reign of terror. Besides Arya, not a single one of them would dare cross me to my face. I looked at Arya again. She was still watching Leo, frowning. She was probably pissed that no one was defending her new crush. God, she was so into him. Leo, realizing no one was coming to his rescue, turned his hopeful, teary eyes to her. Miss Vance, am I wrong? Wasn't the hero of a novel supposed to be some stoic, badass CEO? Why was this one a manipulative pretty boy? I didn't get Arya's taste in men, but I respected the script. Everyone watched her, expecting her to finally put me in my place like she sometimes did. I waited for it, too. Instead, after a long pause, Arya's cool voice cut through the silence. Are you a cop? Leo, stunned, shook his head. Then mind your own business, she said, her tone laced with irritation. My jaw dropped. That made no sense. Had my dad signed another big deal with her family? Was she being nice for his sake? Before I could process it, Arya had her security toss Leo out. The party resumed as if nothing had happened. I stared at her. Did you and my dad just close another major deal or something? Arya shook her head. I was even more confused. I pointed at the door. That was Leo Miller. Leo, don't you feel anything? He's the male lead. You're supposed to fall for him at first sight, you idiot. Arya frowned. Caleb, don't start acting crazy the second you get back. She insulted me. I felt a wave of relief. Ah, yes, that's the stuff. I didn't know why she hadn't defended the hero, but it didn't matter. She still clearly hated me. I was safe. With Leo gone, there was no point in me sticking around. I was about to leave when a voice echoed in my head. It was the system. Holy crap, host. Why is the annoyance meter at 0? Did you secretly try to win her over while I was gone? Was it accusing me? I marched right back to Arya, ready to provoke another insult to prove this busted system was wrong. As I got closer, I saw a group of her friends sitting with her, all of them complaining about me. I was used to it. My reputation preceded me. But I'd never heard Arya's response before. He only acts like that with me, she said, leisurely swirling the wine in her glass. There was even a hint of a smile on her face. What are you all so worked up about? Her friends exchanged practiced looks, rolling their eyes. One of her closer friends spoke up. Here we go again. So I guess our feelings don't matter. Arya's smile widened. Some things are just obvious, aren't they? A couple of them lunged at her playfully. Oh my God, you are so completely lovesick. My world tilted. Arya Vance was playing a completely different game. What was wrong with her? Who falls for the person who's been bullying them their whole life? Shocked, I backed away and bolted, not noticing that the moment I turned, her eyes were fixed on me. Asshole, she murmured under her breath. Always runs away. On the way home, the system and I reviewed my behavior over the past few years. From convincing my dad to poach her company's projects to secretly having her dog shaved, every single act was worthy of the villainous rival title. Utterly despicable. It makes no sense, the system said, completely baffled. If you did any of that to me, I would have beaten you to a pulp 1,000 times over. My face fell. If you don't have anything nice to say, then shut up. We were silent for a moment. Then the system spoke again, its tone hesitant. Could Arya be a masochist? Like, the more you torment her, the more she likes it? No way. I couldn't comprehend it, but I was profoundly disturbed. The system, sensing a breakthrough, got more excited. That has to be it. Why else would she put up with all your crap? It's the only explanation. Hey, it's kind of a cute dynamic in a weird way. Don't you think? But the word masochist was screaming in my brain. I pictured Arya pinning me down, begging me to torment her forever. A violent shiver ran down my spine. That's terrifying. System, save me. Just make her keep calling me an asshole. I can handle that. Anything but this. The system went quiet again. Or, maybe, she just likes you. My mind instantly conjured an image of Arya and me, holding hands, gazing into each other's eyes. The usual ice in her expression was gone, replaced by a deep, unwavering affection. Another shiver, this one worse than the last. Nope, let's go back to the masochist theory. That's way less terrifying. I can't deal with her liking me. No way, system. For the first time in years, I stayed home for a few days straight, terrified of running into Arya and having her ask me, You'll only ever be an asshole to me, right? I couldn't handle it. Not one bit. But I'm not the type to sit still. When my buddy Jake Sterling invited me to his annual costume party, I immediately said yes. Jake went all out every year, each party more elaborate than the last. Most importantly, Arya and her friends never went. She avoided that kind of scene like the plague. I dragged Jake out to find the perfect costume. We landed on a suit of custom-made knight's armor. In the mirror, I saw a young man with bright, clear eyes and a killer smile. Paired with my undeniable charm, I was a total heartbreaker. Perfect, I declared. This armor totally screams badass. Jake, standing off to the side, looked like he wanted to say something but held his tongue. I heard him muttering to himself, badass. Sure, if he says so, he must have his reasons. As we left, Jake got all mysterious. I've got a surprise for you tonight, he said. I met his gaze and grinned. A surprise? Awesome. So can someone please tell me why Arya Vance's entire friend group is here? Where are the gorgeous models I was expecting? Hell, I'd even settle for a bunch of single dudes. I clenched my fist and grabbed Jake, my voice a low growl. You said a surprise. Getting Arya's friends here to ambush me. Is that it? You better have something good, or you're dead. Jake wagged a finger in my face, a smug look on his. They're not the surprise. But thanks to them, I was able to invite. He pointed to the center of the room. A single person stood there, their back to us, surrounded by an adoring crowd. A sick feeling started to churn in my stomach. No, it can't be. I stared at the figure, and before she could even turn around, Jake shouted, his voice giddy with excitement. Arya Vance. Didn't see that coming, did you? I pulled out all the stops this year. She's the biggest get in our circle right now, about to officially take over Vance Industries. People are dying for an invitation from her. Seriously, man, you should stop pissing her off. I roll my eyes. I had no intention of getting involved in my family's business, so I couldn't care less if she was a CEO. And whose friend was he, anyway? Before I could chew him out, Jake was yelling her name again, trying to get me to see her costume, promising it would blow my mind. Yeah, no thanks. I ripped my arm out of his grasp and bolted straight out of the ballroom. I stood outside, looking back at the brightly lit party, my eyes stinging. I was supposed to be in there, surrounded by beautiful women, or at least hanging with my friends. Instead, I'm squatting in a bush, getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. All because of that damn Arya Vance, I muttered. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be out here. What did I do that was so damn awful? A voice behind me purred. I whipped around. Arya was standing right there, a playful, knowing smile on her face. God knows how long she'd been there, or how much she'd heard. I scrambled to my feet, flustered and angry. Don't you know it's rude to eavesdrop? She was wearing a stunning, custom-made silver gown that looked straight out of the Roaring Twenties, but with a twist, a pair of delicate, silver fox ears perched in her hair. Seeing me stare, she explained, a speakeasy siren. With a secret. It was an odd choice, but she looked so good it was hard to breathe. Damn, she's the main character for a reason, the system chimed in. That face could launch 1,000 ships. Even I'm getting lost in those eyes. Who's getting lost? I'm not. I shot back internally. The dog is, maybe, but not me. Woof woof, the system replied dryly. I swear, how did it disappear in the first place? I need to know, so I can make it happen again. Driven by my professional duty as the asshole rival, I launched into an attack. Don't think you look all that great. That dress is ridiculous. And those fox ears look cheap. Not like mine. Here, feel the quality of this. I unhooked the fluffy foxtail I had attached to my belt. Arya's smile deepened. She took the fox ears off her head and placed them gently on mine. Here, you wear them. Her eyes scanned my armor. My, little lord, she drawled, raising an eyebrow. I haven't seen you in a few days, and you've gotten this shameless. I rubbed my arms, suddenly cold. Be normal. Stop being a creep. I cleared my throat. It's a badass general. She just laughed again, looking genuinely happy. Seriously, who gets this happy from being insulted? She really is a masochist. I took a subconscious step back. It's so lively in there, and you love a crowd. Why aren't you inside? I just glared at her. Oh, she said, a look of dawning comprehension on her face. You said it was because of me? What? She leaned in, closing the distance between us in an instant. Her warm breath ghosted across my forehead. Her gaze felt physical, a tangible heat on my skin. I felt my face flush. My heart was going haywire because I stammered, making something up. Everyone was crowded around you, telling you how great you are. It was annoying, okay? Arya pretended to think for a moment, then nodded. Well, I guess they did all say a few nice things. I roll my eyes. Give her an inch, and she takes a mile. I took a deep breath, ready to leave, but she held out her hand. Her eyes were sparkling. That's only because they hadn't seen you yet, she said, her voice a soft, tempting murmur. If you were in there, they'd all be flocking to you. They wouldn't have even noticed me. You would have had them all wrapped around your little finger. Don't be mad, my lord. I glanced back into the ballroom. Jay caught my eye and waved me over, his face flushed, clearly having a good time. I looked at Arya's outstretched hand, hesitant. Us, together? I don't think that's a good idea. Everyone knows we can't stand each other. Seeing me waver, she grabbed my wrist and pulled me toward the party. So it's not a good idea? Then let's make a good one. The second we walked in, we were swarmed by her friends. Caleb, you look so handsome tonight. Whoever marries, you'll be the luckiest person alive. Look at that face. You're a work of art. So badass and regal. Thank God Arya brought you back in, or we all would have missed out. They chirped on, their over-the-top praise attracting everyone else in the room. Soon, I was being complimented from head to toe. While I was trading fake pleasantries, I glanced over at Arya. She was already looking at me. The moment our eyes met, she broke into a wide grin, covering her mouth as she leaned in to whisper in my ear. See? Aren't they all fawning over you now? You really do look amazing tonight. I just stared, a little stunned. She was being nice, genuinely nice. I felt a real smile spread across my face. Thanks, I said, and I meant it. These people usually spent their time trashing me behind my back. The fact that they were laying it on this thick, especially that badass line, I'd seen Arya mouth the words to them, meant something was up. When I finally escaped the crowd, Jake sidled up to me, his eyes narrowed. Are you and Arya getting together? I'll sue you for slander. I made a hard X with my arms. The only thing between us is mutual disgust. And I paused, thinking of her leaning in close outside, and her attempts to creep me out with her weird psychosexual games. That's it. She was just having a moment of conscience tonight. That's all. Don't worry, man. I'd never abandon you to the world of the terminally single. Jake gave me a look of profound pity. You're the only one who thinks it's mutual. What's that supposed to mean? He ignored me. Quick, look at Arya right now. Confused, I did as he said, turning my head. My eyes collided with hers. She had been staring at me, and my sudden movement caught her off guard, a flash of surprise on her face before she could school her expression. Jake sighed beside me. You see, it's never a coincidence. She's always looking at you. Every single time you turn around, she's there. The sad part is, you've never noticed she's in love with you. I still don't get it. How did someone like Arya Vance, who's so completely out of everyone's league, fall for you? It's baffling. I was baffled, too. I was more than baffled. I was utterly floored. But I'm so horrible to her. I convinced my dad to steal her clients. I had her dog shaved. I used to hide her homework. How could she like me after all that? She really is a psycho. Jake shot me a withering glare. Are you an idiot? She loves you. In her eyes, everything you do is just part of your weird foreplay. Stealing a project? She saw it, as you helping your dad out. Shaving her dog? She pretended not to notice. Hiding her homework? Caleb, she wrote 2 copies of every assignment just so you'd have one to hide. It's a game for you too. You love dishing it out, and she loves taking it. You really had no idea. My voice trembled. When did you find out? Jake clapped a hand on my shoulder. Buddy, the real question is, besides you, who doesn't know? He leaned in closer. Something must have happened between you two recently. This is the most obvious she's ever been. He plucked the fox ears off my head. Embroidered on the inside of one was a crooked, handwritten letter, C. It was a silent declaration, a secret hidden in plain sight. No wonder her friends asked me what you were wearing tonight, Jake said, shaking his head. Dude, just give in. It's Arya Vance. She chose you. You hit the jackpot. And honestly, from the way she's looking at you right now, I don't think you have much of a choice. In that moment, my world shattered. I wasn't a villain. I was the clown. The world's biggest, most oblivious clown, who torments someone for years only to have them fall in love with them. Arya Vance had to have a few screws loose. Sensing my existential crisis, the system offered some comfort. It's okay. You were plenty vicious. It's not your fault. She interpreted it as affection. After the party, Jake had arranged for a late dinner. I used to always sit next to Arya, the better to annoy her up close. This time, I felt a strange sense of dread. I grabbed Jake and hid in the farthest corner of the private room. But Arya, the last to arrive, walked past everyone and slid into the seat right next to me. "Why didn't you wait for me this time?" she asked, a barely perceptible note of hurt in her voice. I was speechless. This was Arya Vance? I looked around. No one else seemed to find this strange. Jake nudged me, wiggling his eyebrows. "The game is on," he mouthed. I shot him a death glare. I looked at Arya, trying to act casual. "What? I didn't. You're just not used to me not trying to make you miserable. Is that it?" To my horror, she admitted it. "Yeah, it feels weird when you're not here." I had no idea what to say. Jake poked me again, his eyes wide with excitement. "Go for it, man." He seemed to be signaling. "Can you please go back to liking me in secret?" I screamed internally. I can't handle this direct approach. Jake, however, knew exactly what to do. He jumped up, offered Arya his seat, and then scurried to the other end of the table under the guise of getting the check. Before he left, he shot Arya a winning smile. "Don't worry, Arya. I made sure no one else sat next to Caleb." I glared daggers at his back. "You just wait. You're going to suffer for this." I sat there, stiff as a board, my eyes glued to the plate in front of me. Arya casually poured me a glass of orange juice and started making small talk. "You're quiet tonight. Not going to sneak anchovies into my salad." I mumbled. "You eating with your eyes now? You haven't even picked up your fork." I nodded furiously, not having heard a word. She was silent for a few seconds. "Is it really that shocking that I like you?" "Mecha?" My head snapped up. I looked around wildly, my eyes finally landing on her impossibly calm face. "Why are you so calm about this?" I, on the other hand, feel an overwhelming urge to run screaming from this room. "Why shouldn't I be calm?" she said, her expression perfectly serene. "I do like you. It's not the liking part," I hissed, my face burning. "It's the fact that we're surrounded by people. Could you maybe pick a more private place for this conversation? This is mortifying." I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up and mumbled my goodbyes. As I was leaving, Arya stood up to walk me out. "I'll take you home." "I'm a guy," I said, bewildered. "I know," she said earnestly, "but I want to spend a little more time with you." My face turned crimson. "Arya, stop it. Just stop talking." She laughed. "Fine. Then you could drive me home. Surely you have that much chivalry, Mr. Hayes." "Can I not?" I asked weakly. We stood there on the sidewalk in a standoff until I finally caved. As I got into the car, I gave her one last desperate warning. "No more weird talk in the car. Or else I'll kick you out." She just laughed again. Could she please, for once, take my threats seriously? On the drive, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Arya Vance liked me. It made no sense. When I got home, my dad was in the living room, leisurely brewing tea. My dad was back. I jogged over and slung an arm over his shoulders. "Dad, when did you get back?" He chuckled, taking a sip of tea. "Haven't seen you this happy to see me in a long time. Spit it out. What do you want? What kind of son do you think I am?" I said, plopping down beside him. "Okay, so I have this friend, and this person he can't stand just confessed their feelings for him. Now my friend feels all weird and prickly inside. Why is that?" My dad's eyes lit up. "That Vance girl confessed to you? Huh, about time. She's got guts." He then gave me a look of mild disgust. "Honestly, I don't know what I was expecting from you. A girl has to make the first move. Useless." "Well, I had to find out sometime," I mumbled. "Wait, how does everyone in the world seem to know about this?" I paused. "Dad, when did you know?" "You kept telling me to go after her clients," he said, looking supremely unconcerned. "But the thing is, she never intended to keep them for herself. Every time a good opportunity came up, she'd bring your old man in on the deal. She's a better business partner than you'll ever be. You think I didn't know what she was up to?" He shot me another disappointed look. "Your disdain is a little obvious, Dad." He just shook his head, a smile playing on his lips. "Son, do you really think it was about a few business deals? Think about it. You've been a terror your entire life. Has she ever once gotten truly angry with you? Hasn't she always been there, patiently putting up with your nonsense? That girl is steady as a rock. You'd mention offhand that you wanted something, and the next day it would show up at our house, wouldn't it? I threatened her to get that stuff? I argued. Back then, to max out the annoyance meter, I'd acted like a mob boss, forcing her to be my gopher. My dad threw his head back and laughed. Oh, you're hopeless. Do you really think she looked threatened? She was happy to trail after you like a little puppy. You just never saw it. Besides, who would take your childish threats seriously? His words merged with what Jake had told me earlier. I tried to picture the Arya from my youth, the girl who always followed me around, but the memories were blurry. All I could recall was a girl with her eyes always downcast, her expression unreadable, quietly handing me snacks from her backpack after school before falling in a step behind me. She never said a word, and I never once looked back. Suddenly, I felt a pang of regret. Why do we only have eyes that look forward? There was so much beauty happening right behind me. That night, I tossed and turned, my mind drifting back to freshman year of college. Everyone was caught up in the freedom of it all, pairing off left and right. I was no exception. I ended up with a girl who cheated on me less than a month in. It was Arya who caught her. The scene was chaotic. I couldn't bring myself to go inside and see it, so I just stood there in silence. Jake stood beside me, smoking and cursing under his breath. Arya came over, trying to comfort me, but when she heard what I said, her face went white. What did I say to her? I buried my face in my pillow, trying to remember. That's right. I'd snarled at her. You're happy now, aren't you? Seeing me miserable like this. I always assumed the worst of her, because I felt guilty. Guilty for directing all my awfulness at her. Every time I saw her, I was reminded of how I'd bullied her, so I desperately, pathetically, wanted her to hate me, to curse my name behind my back. Anything but love me. Before this, I was an orphan. When I woke up in this world, with loving parents, I thought it was a gift from heaven. Then the system appeared and told me it was all an accident, that I was just an intruder in someone else's body. After that, I started waking up from nightmares, dreams of the real Caleb Hayes screaming at me for stealing his life, his family, his love. He would rage and then sob, begging me to get out of his body. And I would cry with him, whispering apologies, promising I would leave soon. The guilt ate away at me for years. I felt like a thief. I pushed away anyone who tried to get close. The kinder they were, the more I loathed myself. I refused to have anything to do with my dad's company. All of it belonged to the real Caleb. Then the system gave me a mission. Max out the annoyance meter. Do this, it said, and when Arya hates you enough, you can go home. I made the worst decision of my life. I said yes. And in trying to escape my guilt over Caleb, I only piled on more guilt over Arya. I was walking down a dark, swampy road and never dared to look back. I once saw a movie with a line that stuck with me. You meet someone, you make a mistake. You want to fix it to pay it back. But in the end, you realize you can't. A mistake can never be undone. I didn't get it then. Now I was living it. The bullet I'd fired years ago had finally found its mark. The system's voice broke the silence. I actually met the real Caleb Hayes. Do you want to see him? My breath caught in my throat. What do you mean? Is it even possible? You were having all those nightmares, its mechanical voice said, though I could swear I heard a hint of warmth. So I went looking for him across the different worlds. I figured if you two met, it might help. He's living a pretty interesting life, by the way. You could learn a thing or two. With a simple transferring, my consciousness faded. I found myself in a white, empty space. In front of me was a single door. Open it, the system said. He's in there. No running away. Or I'll lock you in here for 2 months. I knew it was trying to comfort me. I managed a weak smile, took a deep breath, and with a trembling hand, opened the door. The room was filled with glowing screens, each one showing a man who looked exactly like me. On one, he was in elaborate courtly attire, holding forth in a grand hall. On another, he was laughing, soaring through the clouds on a sword with friends. On a third, he was shirtless, hauling a hoe over his shoulder in a field. He was everywhere, living 1,000 different lives. These are all the worlds he's visited, the system explained. When I found his consciousness and told him you were in his body, he volunteered to become an agent, helping us fix broken plot lines in other worlds. That's why I was gone so long. I was training him. And you are, a warm voice said from behind me. I turned. It was him, the real Caleb. He studied my face for a moment, and a slow smile spread across his. I figured you'd show up eventually. Didn't think it would be this soon. I stared at him, and the only words that came out were the ones I'd whispered in my dreams for years. I'm so sorry. He just laughed, a free, easy sound. Don't be. It wasn't your fault. And hey, it's worked out pretty well for me, don't you think? He gestured to the screens, to the life of adventure he was living. He pulled me over to a couch that materialized out of nowhere, and we both flopped down. So, he said, how's the old man? It took me a second to realize he meant our dad. He's great. Healthy, eating well, still sharp as a tack. I told him everything, all the funny stories from our childhood, and he laughed until he cried. When he calmed down, he looked at me seriously. He's the one I worry about most. I'll take care of him, I promised. I promise. I know you will, he said with a smile. He's your dad, too. We talked for what felt like hours. Finally, I told him about Arya, about the guilt, about how I didn't know how to face her feelings. He shot up from the couch. Wait, the Vance girl likes you. I nodded dumbly. He muttered something to himself, then paced for a minute before turning back to me, looking conflicted. The system just showed me a highlight reel of your greatest hits. Man, you were really rough on her. You need to give her a proper apology. A real one. She might say it's fine, but you have to be sincere. You have to make it up to her. You have to take responsibility for what you've done. I nodded in agreement. Look, I'm no expert on love, he said, scratching his head. But I know one thing. A Hayes man can only accept someone's love because he loves them back, not because he feels guilty. I need you to live our life, this one life we both have, to the fullest. If you don't, next time we meet, I really will punch you like in your dreams. And let Dad retire. The old man has worked hard enough, Caleb. He playfully punched my chest. His eyes were shining. I nodded, smiling and crying at the same time. I woke up the next morning to sunlight streaming through my window. I felt its warmth on my skin. Thank you, Caleb, I whispered. And thank you, system. I was waiting for a touching, sentimental reply, but instead, the cheerful sound of a poker app filled my head. 2 pairs. Then the system's voice. Damn it, he had 2 pairs? I'm screwed. Wait, what did you just say? Get out of my head, I groaned. After lunch, I called Arya and asked her to meet. The moment she sat down, I got straight to it. I asked you here because I need to apologize. 4 reasons I can't explain. I spent my entire life bullying you. I am truly, deeply sorry. I stood and gave her a full, formal bow. Arya looked flustered, getting up to make me sit down. It's fine, Caleb. I don't care. But I care, I said, shaking my head. What I did was wrong. You're strong, so maybe you could handle it, but that doesn't excuse my actions. The things I did could have caused real, lasting damage, and I can't just let that go because you've forgiven me. I am so sorry. I took a breath. Whatever you want as compensation, money, business projects, anything, I'll make it happen. Her expression hardened. I have all of those things. The only thing I want is, but I don't love you right now, I interrupted, looking her straight in the eye. You know that, right? She froze. After a long moment, she gave a small, quiet, I know. I moved to sit beside her. But I do have feelings for you, I said gently, and I think I could fall in love with you. But right now, most of what I feel is guilt, and I can't build a relationship on that. I need time. For 26 years, I never once looked back at you. That's not fair to you. You could, she cut in, her eyes lighting up again, and I promise you, if you turned around, I'm the only one you would see. Her confidence was staggering. I remembered seeing her lead a board meeting at her company once. She was brilliant, commanding, completely in her element. Just like now, a slow smile spread across my face. Arya was never just waiting for me. She was always walking her own path. After that day, we started spending more time together. I discovered that when she really laughed, she had faint dimples. I saw 100 different expressions on her face I'd never seen before. I wanted to know everything about her, only to realize she still knew me better than anyone. One day, I got an idea. I dug our old high school uniforms out of storage and convinced her to put hers on. I took her back to our old campus. We walked the same streets, ate at the same old food stalls. Then, I asked her to walk ahead of me. I followed a few steps behind, stepping on the same cracked paving stones, the same fallen leaves. I stared at the back of her uniform, seeing what she must have seen for all those years, and my heart filled with an aching tenderness. You can't see anything from back here. Arya, I said, my voice thick with emotion. I'm so sorry it took me this long to see you. She stopped, her body rigid. Slowly, she turned around, and her face broke into the most radiant smile I had ever seen. Caleb, she said, I always knew you wanted me to hate you. I never understood why, but to stay by your side, I learned to frown whenever you were around, to pretend I was annoyed. You feel guilty that you never looked back, but I'm glad you didn't. Because it was only when you weren't looking that I could love you without hiding it. Loving you was always my choice. And in the places you couldn't see, I was busy becoming someone worthy of that love. Her voice trembled, but she stood tall and straight. I just stared at her, as if waking from a long dream. The memory was finally clear. I could see her, the girl walking behind me. The sunlight filtering through the trees, the wind catching the hem of her skirt. Her expression was serene, almost distant, as if nothing in the world could hold her interest. But her eyes told a different story. They held everything that mattered. Aria Vance, I said, my voice clear and sure. I love you.